This week's show brought to you by Frank Shoup, Georgetown's big name in cars. Roosters, a fun casual joint. Georgetown Advantage Air, now 100% locally owned and operated by Gene Thompson.
Welcome everybody to the News Graphic Scott County Coaches Show with Coach McKee. And Coach, you brought a guest this week.
I did. I've got Coach Mike Davis here. He's been here with us now. This is his third season, am I right, or fourth season. He's played at Boyd County High School back in the 80s. What were you in the 80s, Cal?
I was in high school in the late 80s.
Yeah, so he's same general. He might have been bled into the early 90s, but and then he's coached at several different schools. Been assistant coach at multiple different schools. Been the head coach at a couple different schools, and his son Josh is our quarterback, as you know, and he works with our offensive backs, and he's also worked with our linebackers at different times. And so I asked him to join us today.
We talked last week or a couple weeks ago about the milestones and the wins and all the things that have happened under your watch, but none of that happens without good assistant coaching. That's just a point that we should reiterate again, and that's a good reason to have one of them on.
No doubt, and I think that one thing we forget is it's like that great meal. Like I bet your mom or whoever does all the cooking in your family. Like I love my mom's vegetable soup. Don't you like vegetable soup?
My mom was a good cook.
When it's real cold in the wintertime, and you come in and it's got all
food.
Oh, it's perfect. And then go in and sit by the fireplace, and it's like a dream come true. But the ingredients in that soup are what make it good. If it was all one thing, it wouldn't be nearly as good. And we've got to have assistant coaches, we got to have a trainer, we got to have somebody filming the games, we got to have somebody loading it in the computer, we got to have somebody doing all the laundry. We got to have all those things, and to meet the needs of about 135 kids. So we're really fortunate to be in that situation.
Well, you wear a lot of hats. You're an assistant coach, you're a parent, I mean, you've been a head coach. How do you juggle all those interests when you're watching the game? It's got to be
well, in all honesty, when Coach McKee asked me to come over to the offensive side of the ball, and he put me in a booth, which is kind of, I think, a great plan. And that way I can keep focused on exactly what we're doing. Me and him meet constantly about what we want to see, and we're always talking on the headset. So one, when it comes game time, you avoid, I've gotten past that. I mean, Josh is the last one of 4 sons to be able to play, so I've gotten past the whole idea of watching my son play, But it's still hard, but you have to do that in order to be successful, and we have a great system. We have a great system. It works nonstop, so you just get used to it in practice. What your responsibilities are, what you're supposed to do, and you take it from there, and it just carries on over into the game.
So what's your perspective on how the offense has gone the past few weeks? It seems like you guys are just making steady progress and cleaning things up and just getting more efficient.
Well, we are. I think obviously, you want to be clicking at the right time, and I think that we are. I still think there's still some work to be done, but we see Glenn and Josh starting to get in a little bit better of a rhythm. We're still adjusting a little bit to, where we want to be as far as some of the play calling and things of that nature, because really, honestly, the last 3 weeks we've only ran like 81 varsity plays because some of the games have been blowouts. So we're still trying to keep that rhythm, but our offense is starting to move in the right direction, and obviously you want it to be clicking and become about playoff time, and I think we're getting closer and closer each week.
You're talking about you being kind of a run to set up the pass guy, I think, and it seems like that's worked perfectly. I mean, last week Josh was 6 for 6 through the air. I mean, is it just a matter of if you can run the ball and they can't stop you, and you can make 2 or 3 different plays work in that realm, that it just?
Well, first off, Big D's lying.
Yep.
Because every parent watches their kid. You know how I know that?
How do you know that?
I watch mine. Clay was our quarterback for 3 years. And so we would run like Liz 13 keep our play that I knew he was going to run the ball on. And now, Big D or me or anybody, I mean, I didn't just think about only what Clay or Colby's doing, but Clay would run the ball, and when he would get tackled, I would always say, just in my own mind to nobody else, get up, get up. And once he got up, I was fine. But no, we're starting to come together offensively, and it's been a great blessing to have a quarterback like Josh, whose dad is a coach. And, you know, he understands so much more about the game of football because he's been around it for so long. And we had Clay for 3 years, and we've had Josh for 2, so we're working on 5 straight years of having a quarterback that's the son of a coach. And the kid that we had before Clay, Ben Lawler, was a very good quarterback. I've had 2 of Bill Cronin's sons have been our quarterbacks here, Corey and Chris. So, you know, we've had some outstanding quarterbacks. I think when you build an offense, you know, and obviously every quarterback would like to throw the ball more. You know, everyone, that's or run it, or if they're running, that's human nature. But when you build an offense, you start with a quarterback. I mean, is your fantasy team doing any better, or y'all still dragging the cellar?
Well, I had a bye last week. So.
Had a bye. I mean, surely you didn't go down on
Brady
on
would have put up some numbers for me if I'd been playing.
But what I'm saying is, I bet you when you get started on a fantasy team, what's the first thing you want? I don't play fantasy football.
You want a quarterback, or you want? I think it's gone toward receivers a little bit, but
I guarantee you know, every football team needs a good quarterback. And, you know, we've been fortunate to have a good one this year and have, you know, Cooper Robb is a very, very capable backup. Cade Mullins has done a good job quarterbacking the JV team. So, you know, we've got good quarterbacks, and that's been a key to what we've been able to do offensively is Josh gets the ball to the right people at the right times. Does he make every right read? No. You know, I mean, but he's at the point now where I can't hardly even remember the last time I raised my voice really at him or to him. You know, he's pretty mature. He generally does what he's supposed to do. Now, if all of them did that, it'd be easy. They all aren't that easy.
Is being able to have a quarterback and groom him for 3 years like you did with Clay, and now
I think so. You know, I've never been one to believe in, like, Josh has only thrown, how many picks has he thrown this year? 2 or 3 probably. I mean, he's thrown 2.
Look, Dad knows immediately.
See, he said he wasn't watching, Big D, liar.
I watched it.
I mean, he's thrown like 2 or 3 picks, not very many. But my point is, he's going to throw another one. It's that simple. You know, he's not going to go the rest of his. And I don't ever want him to feel like, and I'm not saying that I would never bench or change a quarterback, but I don't want Josh to feel like, because he's going to make a bad decision. I don't want him to feel like when he makes it that he's going to get jerked out of the game. You know, basketball, football, baseball, it doesn't matter. If you go up to bat in baseball, here we go. I wasn't a real good hitter, so I needed confidence. I'm in there. If I'm worried that if I strike out, I'm going to get jerked out of the game, well, I'm really not going to get a hit. And so I've really never been one that's had much of a quarterback controversy or quarterback competition. I evaluate the kids year round. And I just pick out who I think fits our system the best. He might not even be the best quarterback always. It's who fits our system the best. And when you can have him for 3 years, that's great. Yes. Or 2 is probably the best case scenario. Now, we've been lucky to
You're not breaking in a senior every year.
I've done that. I had a kid named Tevin Buffin in 2009. Big D, I don't know if you've ever done that. You probably have.
I have.
It's not ideal, but the kid that I did it with did great. You know, but no, 2 years would be perfect, because that way, you know, your freshman year, you know, I sped Josh's progression up. When he was in 8th grade, I had him do the freshman. When he was in 9th grade, I had him do the JV, so that when he was in 10th grade, he was ready.
Offense has done a nice job shortening these games the past couple of weeks. You talk about getting to that 36-point lead where the clock will run. You can, you know, maybe get out of there, not risk yourself, hold yourself out there for any more injuries or anything else bad that could happen.
Well, and I'll tell you what else, you know, I always try to call it right down the middle, and sometimes it doesn't always land on the side we want. Is that I told you to turn your car off.
I'm sorry. I can't afford that kind of car.
1980, you can.
Well, offense the past couple of weeks has been so efficient that it shortened these games up. You've gotten to the running clock early, and last week at Bryan Station, on top of that, the defense with 3 shutout quarters, just been the complete package here lately.
And we've played well in the kicking game. You know, I think sometimes that we forget that winning a high school football game is not always necessarily about the plays you make, it's about the plays you don't make. Meaning, you know, you don't make silly mistakes. I don't know, what were Bryan Station stats passing the other night?
I don't know.
They
I know
completed,
they had,
what, 10 or 12 passes?
And they had 4 interceptions.
A lot more than that.
They've 4 interceptions, you know. And not only that, the thing of it is I thought last week we probably played the best game offensively that we played all year long. Okay, on top of the fact that I think, if I'm not mistaken, I know the last 2 weeks I believe we've had 4 picks each game from the defense, and you know, you throw the ball, the clock always stops.
3 games in a row.
3 games in a row with 4.
So that's that. I mean, most teams don't get 12 interceptions in a season.
No.
So right now they're playing awesome.
Cooper Rob's got 8 by himself.
Yeah, we're clicking. So I mean, that's just, you know, that's what's amazing about it is it's all starting to come together in the right situation. But what's great about the running clock is too, and I know that we want to keep injuries out, and that's a plus, and we can heal guys. But these guys who practice every day get a chance to get some varsity clock. I think one of Josh's successes that the coach was talking about, you know, when Clay was a senior, Josh played 10 ball games, and most of them were running clocks the whole second half. So he had 5 varsity games of experience basically as the total coming in as his first start, you know, as a varsity starter.
That's something that we don't think about a lot, is that you want close games, you want competition. You also want some of those games where you can take a little breather and get some of your younger kids in there, because that's how programs continue and roll on, I'm sure.
Well, one thing that, you know, when you look at and break down what we've done the last several weeks, and then we got to be honest, I mean, the level of competition has not been the same as it was when we're playing. You know, Pulaski's 7-1, they haven't lost a game. You know, obviously, I don't know how closely you followed Elder, but they've beaten Moeller and beaten Cleveland St. Ed.
They're all right.
They're having a pretty good year. So, and Lafayette obviously has had a good year. Only lost 1 game to us is their only blemish. But look at the things that you don't do.
I like how you got that
game. You know, did we turn the ball over against Bryan Station? No.
Sir.
So we didn't. It wasn't necessarily that as much that Josh is 6 for 6 or that Kendrick rushes for this much. It's that Josh is 0 for 0 throwing it to the other team. We didn't fumble. Now they completed some passes, but what they didn't have, what we didn't allow was a guy to run down the sideline on a wheel route wide open for a 70-yard touchdown. You think about the kicking game. You know, we didn't do anything dumb. We didn't get a punt block. We didn't get a kickoff run back against us. You know, so we focus, and we sometimes think as coaches, if I tweak this play, if I run this blitz, if I move this personnel, then sometimes we just need to back up and remember, let's not make mistakes. And let's play within the framework of what we do. You know, I get impatient sometimes calling plays, and it's usually just not being patient enough to keep handing the ball off to set the play action pass up, for example. You know, you got 2 good times to throw a play action pass. On a sudden change around midfield, let's take a shot. You don't lull guys to sleep after 1 first down. If I get the ball, and Scott kind of gets the ball on the 15-yard line, and we get 1 first down up to the 30, that's not the time to run a play action pass. And I've done it before, multiple times, because I'm antsy to hit a big shot. So you got to be patient, play within yourself, and not make mistakes if you want to win.
Getting back to defense a little bit, we talked about a hitter and having confidence in other, you know, in baseball. Sometimes a hitter gets locked in, gets in a groove, gets on a hitting
Cubs are not locked in.
They're not locked in.
The Cubs are not locked in.
Sometimes when a coach X basketball players will get on a roll shooting 3-pointers. Is it possible for a kid like Cooper Robb to kind of get in that groove as a defensive back? I mean, you can't guarantee interceptions. To get 3 in a game, to have 8 in a short amount of time.
I can't think we've ever had anybody get 3 since William got 3 in 2004. Have we had anybody get 3 in the last 3 or 4 years?
Possibly Grayson, possibly J Mac, maybe the 2013 year, but I don't know if we've ever had anybody else that even.
Just a case where the ball looks bigger, or he's just in the right place, the right time, because a lot of things.
Well, I think just like what I told you. I mean, good football players can happen a couple different ways. You know, one, they can just be so blessed with talent. You know, I've coached some guys that are just oozing with talent. And you know, Grayson would probably be a really good example of a guy with a ton of talent that also had a great work ethic. And I'm not saying Cooper Robb doesn't have talent. He absolutely is very talented. He's 6'2". He's got a great nose for the ball. He's got good instincts. So you couple that with good coaching. So, you know, you can be really good by just being super talented. Or you can be average talented and be pretty good just because you do everything you're supposed to do. Or in Cooper's case, I mean, he's not the single most talented kid on the field, all right? But he does he has enough natural ability that when you couple that with coaching, then that's
the kind of thing you see in a three-sport athlete.
Well, and he's just a competitor.
Right.
He competes in every sport he ever plays in, and on the football field, that's what he does. I mean, he's a commander. He's the commander of the defense.
And he has self-confidence.
Yes. And he's not afraid to go make plays.
He has self-confidence. I would say the biggest thing is he just carries himself, not with arrogance. You don't like that. I mean, we've got some guys on the team. I'm not calling out names. I mean, I won't do that. They'll really irritate you. Yeah. And I'm sure you coaches or you interview guys, you'll be like, but that's human. That's a vegetable soup. I mean, that's a piece in the pie that you got to take.
Yeah.
But in Cooper's case, he has that confidence that you really want to instill in a kid without it being a swagger that turns you off. And, the great example I would say would be, like guys are getting ready for basketball, and then during basketball, guys will get ready for baseball. And I've seen a lot of kids over the years end up not going out for one sport or the other, or even football, any sport, because they're worried that they're getting there a little late and they're not going to get to play, or I'm starting baseball 2 weeks after everybody else, or I got to miss a week of summer football for baseball. He never lets that stuff bother him. He just says, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to work hard and do what I'm asked to do, and over time I will be able to show what I can do. I mean, no, and we got to knock on wood. We got to keep him healthy. He made that great pick. Were you over on?
Banged up his knee. Had it right in front of me, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah, but knock on wood, everything was fine there, and he's had a great week of practice.
Some quick thoughts about Dunbar before we wrap this up. A chance to, as you mentioned the other night, 9 years out of 10, and I think 28 out of the last 30 district games.
We've 28-2 in the last 10 years if we can win Friday. And I mean, that would have to be right up there with anybody in Kentucky. I don't know about maybe Mayfield. You could probably maybe look and see what Mayfield's done. Maybe Trinity. I'd say Trinity and Mayfield be the only two, because Covenant Catholic's probably lost more district games than that, or Highlands, just because they've been in with Cov Cath so much. But no, it's senior night, and I mean, now I like senior night, and I understand that, and I'll walk out with my boys. But I really pound on our kids that, your favorite memory and all that kind of stuff in football, it's not a night to be sad. Tonight's a night to celebrate what we're going to do tonight and what we're getting ready to do. Senior night ought to be the kickoff night. They should change that from senior night to kickoff night, because we're getting ready to kick off the run to Bowling Green. And so we're not going to look back and reminisce and be sad about what's happened, because we're not going to play football anymore. We're going to get fired up for what we're going to do over the next 6 weeks.
And that's kind of the way you got to look at it. I mean, in all honesty, you got to look at it that way, because there are some programs that their senior night's the last time they'll ever play. We're fortunate that that's not the case, and we don't ever see it that way.
You'll be on that field again in a few times.
Exactly.
That's 7:30 Friday night at Toyota Stadium. Coach Davis, Coach McKee. I'm Cal, and we also took some time to see what Jesse Hamby, one of the players, had to say about last week's game and this week's matchup. Let's check that out.
The impressive win over Bryan Station was a continuation of the Cardinals' recent success.
Our blocking went really well for us. It was one of our higher scoring games on the O-line, and everybody was working well with each other. It was really good. We've communicated more. We've all started communicating more and helping each other out, and it all works together real well.
The players are focused on Friday night's game against Dunbar and the opportunity to win their 9th district title in 10 years.
We're going to lay it to them. Show them what Scott County football is. Push it one more year. Just keep pushing one more year.
While the weather conditions may say otherwise, the players know that November and the playoffs are right around the corner.
It really doesn't feel like it, but we know it is, because we can see it, and we're trying to make it last as long as possible.
That kick was blocked by Bryan Station.